What happens when the director of Promising Young Woman and Saltburn takes on Wuthering Heights, one of the most revered and brutally complex novels in the English language?
The result is definitely not a faithful period drama. It's stylized, erotic, controversial, and has critics and fans divided.
Some praise its bold emotional vision and unforgettable performances. Others say it's too sexy, too aesthetic, and not truly Wuthering Heights at all.
So today we are going to break down what changed, why it's so divisive, what works and what didn't, and whether this adaptation is a brilliant reinterpretation or a betrayal.
Betrayal. Okay, just a heads up, there are spoilers ahead. So if you've not read the book and you want to, you will have spoilers. And if you do not want to read the book, then you should be good. Let's get into it.
Okay, I have one very top of mind question after
Okay.
finishing this book, and
Okay.
it's not really understanding why this book is a cult classic.
I asked myself the same thing the entire time that I was reading it. But here's the thing. I feel like I had this weird Stockholm syndrome with it when I was reading it, where I wanted to stop. I was desperate to DNF, but I literally could not stop. I continued to read until the end, and I was kind of into the story until the end.
Is it what people say when you're watching a train crash and you can't
Yes.
look away?
It
I
did
think
feel
that's what it is.
like 400 pages of a slow-moving train crash. This book is not, first of all, this book is not a romance. This is nowhere near a romance. It's not cozy. It's not uplifting. And it's not particularly likable. In a lot of the points of the book, I was so mad at every single character and every single decision that they were making.
Yeah.
And somehow it's just stood the test of time. It's basically become immortal.
Yeah, so the great part about having a book Instagram is that you can kind of crowdsource other people's feelings, because I 100% agree with you, but I don't think that's why it's the cult classic. So I went about asking some of our friends about why they think it's a cult classic, and the overwhelming feeling was that because when this was written 200 years ago, first of all, it was written by a woman, which was unheard of.
Right.
And then also it was completely different than all of the social norms that were happening back then, and people were literally in shock, they were seeing Satan for the first time.
I mean, it does bring some shock and awe, so that makes complete sense.
I feel all the books of that time were about courting and balls and dinner parties, and then now we have
fluffy.
really awful human beings that are really just hungry for things that people probably saw as sinful.
Yeah, I think that explains why it might have been popular at that point, but I am interested in why you think that it's lingered culturally to today, because there are a lot of people who laud this book as one of their favorite books of all time.
Yeah.
I am not one of those people, spoiler. But it just feels like it was written to pull these extreme emotions out of people almost. And it's written to trigger you. And I'm is that why it's continued to kind of stay in the cultural zeitgeist?
I think so, because remember on our romance episode, we talked about why rom-coms don't exist anymore. And we were talking about how everybody is so hungry for something weird or gross or sick or different right now. They want to be genuinely shocked and awed. And so I think what held true 200 years ago still kind of happens now.
Yeah, true. I mean, and also I think this is the 1500s version of rage bait. I think it's so memorable because it's so deeply uncomfortable for 99.9% of the book that it's just so interesting, because Emily Brontë was in, I think, her 20s when she wrote this. And I'm what mental space were you in, Emily girl? You were traipsing on the moors over there being how do I write the most just irritating story for
I feel
people to read?
She 100% hated her parents. I haven't actually Googled this for confirmation, but I feel she definitely did.
Okay, maybe both her sisters did too, because they both also wrote huge classics.
Yeah, true.
But one thing that I will say is that I feel like she was very ahead of her time in writing what we have come to know as morally gray characters. Like, she has
Uh-huh.
written these characters where it's like you see them from their starting point and where they started as like vulnerable, either children or young adults or whatever that may be, and they just have been hardened by the world. And like that's where their personality has come out. And either it's turned them into Heathcliff, who is basically a caveman, or Kathy, who is just an absolute psychopath. And it's like you can kind of see that journey. And so I thought that was really interesting because now we're obsessed with morally gray characters.
100%. Kathy would be cast on Real Housewives of Wuthering Heights so quickly in the modern
She
day.
would. Okay, what would her tagline be?
I'm on my 5th husband and money is my only problem. Like,
Oh my goodness,
literally,
so
like,
good.
I think you're right. Like, she made these characters that even though when we're reading them in this story seem so insane, like, if you
Yeah.
compare them to what we have now, like, Kathy is literally every woman on reality TV. She's
Yeah.
literally the girls from Tell Me Lies that's on Hulu
Yes.
right now. Um,
Yes.
and then, like, Heathcliff is literally every morally gray MMC enemies to lovers, like, main character that we love to hate in so many of our books.
Totally. And that also begs the question of how those two became these like romantic icons. Like
Right.
their love story is not something to be writing home about at all. It's like it should be a cautionary tale, if anything.
Because to the general public, this is, like, branded as romance, is it not?
Yes. Yeah. I
I
mean,
think maybe
literally,
gothic romance, but it's romance.
on the back of my book, it says Wuthering Heights is commonly thought of as romantic, but try rereading it without being astonished by the extremes of physical and psychological violence. It's like,
I
yeah,
don't
that's right.
I actually don't know. I guess to your point, like a cautionary tale, like, what else would you call it besides a romance, though?
I think that I would call it a gothic, which I think we've turned into classics as a genre,
Gothic
because I
drama.
sure, because I think what it pulls in is elements of Gothic romanticism, which I remember learning about in high school. And I think that's where we've conflated it as a romance. But I'm like, if we think about the elements of any romance that we've ever read, a lot of that is not in this book. Like, it's not
Mhm.
even close to present in this book. Like, it's really just like a story of tragic love and how it impacts generations to come.
It actually reminded me so much of which is another Jacob Elordi adaptation, Frankenstein, like, they
Mm.
had like, The Bride of Frankenstein, that story, that romance to me is similar to Kathy and
True,
Heathcliff.
and there's about to be a movie on that too. What do you know?
Yeah, like, I don't know, but maybe we're wrong, maybe we don't know what, like, romance actually means.
I think we do. We read a lot of romance. Like there's like this typical arc that's included in a romance. Like there's a typical like conflict resolution. Like there are these kind of like standard like themes or whatever. I don't know
Yeah.
what word you want to use within the genre. And again, like there are classics that are romances that have those things present. Like this book does not.
Is it but is, like, the conflict, like, the race and class division, she has to marry somebody else, and then the resolution is, like, as she's dying, he realizes or, like, they realize that they're in love with each other?
But they barely even realized it. I don't think that they ever sit down and, like, have this moment of, like, "I'm in love with you." Like, Kathy's literally dying, and she's like, "I hope you live as long as possible, Heathcliff, so that I can come back and haunt you."
Okay, question.
What?
Do you think Titanic is a romance? Because Rose did not let Jack on that board.
She tried to pull him on the board.
She grappled with it a little bit. Because I don't know, like,
Oh my
I don't know if Titanic is a romance to me either, like, that's more of, like, a drama, like, a big
Yeah, I agree.
drama, and maybe that's what I think Wuthering Heights is like, a
Yeah.
just drama.
I think that there's, like, a tragic love story incorporated in the Titanic, similar to Wuthering Heights. Like,
Yeah.
Heathcliff and Cathy's romance is tragic, or their love story is tragic. But to your point, like, I wouldn't call the overarching book a romance.
So
Nowhere near it.
with it being so hard to like put our finger on what this story actually is and why people are so into it, why do you think it has been adapted literally 400 times for the big screen?
I think it's because, again, this is like the 1500s version of rage bait. Like, I think that this, like, toxic, obsessive passion and love is just something that really sells to audiences. And we'll get into it. But I do think when it's adapted by these, like, beautiful actors who are, like, showing
Mm,
their little hearts getting broken and whatever, like, I think there's a different level of empathy that you get for this tragic love story. And then also, I think these adaptations are, like, really pulling from parts of the book versus, like, fully adapting the entire story.
that's true. And they always make Heathcliff so hot.
He's always so hot, he's always white, he's
He's
always,
always the
like
biggest name actor.
he always has, like, brown puppy dog eyes that he's looking at Kathy with. It's like, okay.
Kathy's waist is always cinched to the max.
But and then I do think, and I feel like when we talk about the movie, this is gonna be big for you, is like the atmosphere of the setting of the moors is, I think, a
Mhm.
huge draw of probably these directors who, like, have this visual eye and they're like, this would be beautiful to bring to screen.
Yeah.
And you have this, like, wild nature that's, like, super, like, there's fog and there's all the rocks and all the things, and it's like, I feel like if you were someone who was making a movie, that's like a just perfect setting for it.
Like, it's every director's, like, check mark, like,
Yeah.
"Wanna remake Wuthering Heights?" Check.
Yeah. Check. The Moors.
Like, I get why Pride and Prejudice has been adapted, like, 400 times because it's, like,
Right.
such a cute story, like, there's, like, the visuals, the sisters, the family, the
Yeah.
beautiful estates, like, I understand why people are like, "Let's just keep making that every 10 years." This one, I'm like, "We could have left it at a few."
Coulda just held it there.
Like,
Wait, so and I'm really interested too because this has been adapted so many times. This was I read this in high school, but I read it, like, as a, like, side quest for one of my English classes, but this was
mm.
not a required book to read if you were in any sort of, like, English literature, AP literature class.
No,
And so I'm
mine
like,
was not either, but, you know, I was talking to my grandma this week about going to see this movie, and she's like, "Well, you've read the book, Emily," and I was like, "No," and she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me? I had to read that literally every year of high school."
yeah, I think it's so I think it's interesting that we have not had that as a required reading, but then it's again like just so embedded in the cultural atmosphere and zeitgeist. Like it just kind of blows my mind. And after reading it, I do not believe that it should be required reading, by the way.
No, I don't either, and I asked my grandma and said, "Why do you think you had to read it so much?" And she was like, "I don't know, Emily, Heathcliff and Cathy." And I was like, "Exactly, that's all anybody ever has to say."
Maybe that was like a random like tactic for birth control that they had back in the day.
I know, because it's, like, very off-brand for a woman that was in high
Yeah.
school in, like, the early '60s, like, I don't think they wanted to be selling that narrative.
No, they probably were like, every man is Heathcliff, watch out. Don't go
You
near
will
him.
die an awful death.
Keep your chastity belts on. You
Yeah.
will die.
She was in Catholic school too, so I honestly think this might add up.
No, yeah, I think it probably they were like, this is a true cautionary tale.
I think you're
Every
right.
man you meet will be Heathcliff. Be careful. And now in 2026, we're like, please give us Heathcliff. Give us every morally gray MMC.
We're so toxic.
We're disgusting.
But then also at the same time, we're, like, extreme feminists, and we
Yeah,
actually would
of
never.
course. Never, never in real life. That's what we're gonna say. So it's not required reading from our points of view. Do we
No.
think that this should continue to get adapted?
Absolutely not. I truly think, like, maybe once every 100 years.
Centennial celebration.
Like, whichever one was made in, like, 1913 in black and white, good. The Jacob Elordi one,
Stop
keep
there.
it.
Yeah.
In the
Keep
year
it.
3000, they can remake it again with the Jonas Brothers song as the title song.
I
And
think
that's
you're
it.
onto something. I really think that you're onto something. So speaking of Jacob Elordi's version that is apparently past your centennial test,
Right. Yeah.
I am ready to discuss this movie. There's just so much to get into.
Yeah, there really is. I think we have to start off by recognizing that Emerald Fennell, is that her name?
Yes. Emerald
Why does
Fennell.
that sound like a Hunger Games character when you say it so out loud?
It actually does. And weirdly, I feel like the way that she goes about her press, I'm like, you kind of are one of the like Hunger Games elite a little
Yeah,
bit.
100%. That adds up to what I'm about to say is that Emerald Fennell literally said, "Yeah, I just wanted to make this movie what I wanted to make this, and I was not following the rules."
Yeah. Yeah. Which respect. Like everyone deserves to be able to make an interpretation and a reimagination, whatever. However, do not title the movie Wuthering Heights.
That is the huge thing for me. It's like you literally could have named it like The Moors, Kathy Goes Missing. I don't
Right.
know, like literally any like you could have named it like Yorkshire. Like I don't know. I'm not being very creative, but anything other than Wuthering Heights, and then at the end of the
Right.
credits said based on Wuthering Heights.
Yes, it said it at the beginning too. And I was like, stop saying the book. Leave it out. Because
Based on
people
a
are
loose
gonna come for
interpretation.
you.
Yeah, based on a loose interpretation of Wuthering Heights.
Oh my God. I mean, props to her because she was clearly ready to just trigger everyone with this. Like,
Yeah.
she probably knew going in that the literary community was going to be burning the trailer alive the second it came out, burning the movie alive the second it came out. And she still was like, whatever, this is my movie, baby.
Her confidence is actually elite and scary. And I think that's maybe why she was so ready to write Catherine, because she is also maybe a little scary.
That's
Um,
true. That is true.
she like on the red carpets when they're like, Emerald, why did you do this? Why did you do that? She's like, because I wanted to.
Yeah. She's like, because it's my movie, bitch.
I was like, damn. But one thing that I did not know going in, because I tried to do like very little research, I wanted a clean
Right.
palette,
Sure.
was that I did not understand that she was going to cut half of the book out. I didn't understand she was keeping it to like this part one of the book.
I didn't know either, but I did like that choice because because the way that the movie was marketed was essentially this like spicy toxic romance, this obsessive love, and I do feel
Mhm.
like it delivered on that to a certain degree. I do think if she were to pull in the second part of the book, that would have completely taken away from it, and it would have turned into Titanic.
Okay, but was that one of the huge, biggest themes you took out of the book, generational trauma?
Yes. Which
And
again,
she
I'm like, this isn't the book.
literally just removed that whole theme and was like, I really love this romance story, and I wish there was more time spent on the book in this story. And so I'm going to really explode that.
No, I truly think that Wuthering Heights was like a fever dream fanfic version of the book. And it was based off of a clear hyperfixation on Heathcliff and
Heathcliff.
Catherine's love story and really dramatizing and romanticizing that. And like that's all that movie was realistically.
Because she literally took out like 10 main characters
She
in
took
her
out
adaptation.
bunch of main characters, and then the hill that I am about to literally go down swinging on is that she made Joseph, of all the characters, a baddie. I was like, what the fuck?
Did you
Literally
notice?
in the
Did you
book. Oh my God, go ahead.
No,
I'm
go.
about to
You say your point. You say your point.
Okay, in the book, Joseph, for anyone who has not read the book, he is a man from Yorkshire, but he is from like the lower classes. And so the way that he speaks, like you actually, when you're reading it, it's like another language. Like you can't really understand
Mm-hmm.
it. He's one of the servants at the house at Wuthering Heights. The way that I pictured him the entire book was literally as Count Olaf. He is detestable. He's so mean to everyone. He doesn't like anyone. He is just like constant. He's like, Mr. Shaw. Like, he is like a craggly, raggly old man,
You
even
know
though
how
it
I
literally
pictured
starts with him young, by the way.
I know. Why did I picture him in the book as Mr. Finch from the Harry Potter movies?
Same thing. Count Olaf, Mr. Finch. Either way, he is walking around creaky deaky,
Yeah.
being like, I got sleep the floors, move out of the way. And then in the movie, Joseph shows up and he's like, Miss Earnshaw, can I bring your steed around,
Did
darling?
Did you notice that he was the one-eyed brother from House of Dragons?
Yes.
And I was
Yeah.
like, again, I think that Emerald was just like really horny.
Same serve though, like like supposed to be a shitty character, and then it's like you have this guy who's just like giving blue steel the entire time, and I was like,
Yeah.
why am I looking at a hot man for Joseph? I shouldn't be looking at a hot man.
Yeah, I will say the casting felt very divisive to me. Like,
Yeah.
although I think every single one of those people are great actors and actresses,
Yes.
I just don't know that they were the people for those characters.
I could not agree more. I think that I maybe would have recast the entire cast, except for maybe Nellie. I did think that the woman that played Nellie was actually very good.
I agree. I think that that was an accurate representation in my mind as well. But I do think that there was this weird thing for me that I was struggling to wrap my head around where in the book, all of these characters are like sub 18 years old.
Right.
And in the movie, I was giving like everybody's like above 30.
Yeah. Except for Jacob Elordi. He still passes. He's about to be in
I don't
Euphoria
know.
season 3, so he has to pass.
But like even the way she dressed him and like the haircut and stuff she gave him
Yeah,
gave mature.
he was very weathered. I agree.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jacob Elordi, my other hill that I am prepared to literally roll down and die on is why in this modern day of 2026 did Emerald Fennell not finally break the fucking cycle and cast a person of color for Heathcliff? Like,
Mhm.
it is mind numbing to me. I don't
Yeah.
understand it. It's like this was the moment. It wasn't in 1912. And now apparently we're going to have to wait until the year 3000, according to Emily. Like, this was it. And she didn't do it.
I actually really agree because I think in this day and age, every like even the PBS shows, like when they readapt these old movies, they're using people of color. Like we have
Yeah.
all of like the Shondaland, Bridgerton, Gilded Age. Like nobody's shying away from that. So like it did kind of give me a little to Emerald Fennel.
Huh, Emerald, what happened there?
Huh, Emerald, what kind of background do you come from?
I have a lot of questions about that decision.
But I
Like,
don't know a lot about her. Like, I know she did Saltburn. That's literally all I know about her. And I'm pretty sure
yeah,
those were all white people too.
yes, definitely.
So I have
So
some questions.
I have a lot of questions about Emerald. But speaking of the casting, I do feel like the choices made my opinions change on the characters from what I had in the book.
Mm,
Like, I feel like the way that Margot played Catherine, she was less like horrific psycho, like bite your head off, and she was more almost like immature, pouty, like go throw
annoying.
a fit in a corner, Catherine. And I was like, what is happening here?
Yeah, I agree. And do you think that Emerald was trying to make us understand her more and like side with her more?
Potentially. I feel like maybe she was trying to like bring out some sympathy for the characters because the reality is like if she's trying to sell this as a love story, as a romance, whatever, like we have to at some point be on board with Catherine and Heathcliff.
Right.
So
So a
you
lot
can't
of people
hate them.
A lot of people were saying that, Emerald Fennell wrote this as, like, a wet dream to be with Heathcliff, and so I feel like if that's true, she had to make Kathy seem, like, redeemable because she would be
Yeah.
Kathy.
True, because it also and on the other side with Heathcliff, I felt like I had more sympathy for him in the movie, and I hated him in the book. Like, I hated him with such a burning passion. He was horrific. He was a monster. But I
Yeah.
feel like she made him like monster light, basically, in the movie, where it's like you still were kind of siding with him by the end.
Yeah, like, he was the only times that I was, like, really cringing were when he was, like, abusing Isabella. That was the only time where I was like, "Okay, you're being disgusting, and
Yeah.
I am not on board with this," but other than that, he was kind of, like, simping after Kathy.
But even when he was being disgusting, he was, like, still getting consent from Isabella. Like, that
That's
was the
true.
shitty part, like, when he's, like, taking like, clearly being like, "I'm gonna marry you, and I don't like you, and I'm gonna picture Catherine every time we have sex, like, are you good with that?" And he, like, made her verbally say yes.
Yeah.
I am very interested in what you were talking about of her writing this as, like, her wet dream because I think that she really tried to eroticize a lot of the, like, toxic elements of their relationship
Yeah.
throughout the movie, and I don't know what you felt, but I felt like it made the romance very shallow, like, it didn't make it a, like, "Oh my god, this is this tragic love story, these star-crossed lovers, whatever." It felt like, "Okay, these are just, like, horny teenagers."
Yeah, there was a tough time jump for me within, like, the first 15 minutes of the movie, so they're, like, bonding as children, and
Yeah,
then there's, like, it's like a door closes and opens, and all of the sudden, like, 15 years have gone by,
yeah.
and you saw none of the character growth in that time to understand how they got to where they were.
Yes. No, I really struggled with that aspect, and, granted, I did enjoy Margot and Jacob getting it on, like, that was fun to watch, and and I do think for the movie adaptation, again, like, the way that these actors played the characters made me, be able to sympathize with them more and, like, made me root for them a little bit more, and so I appreciated that.
I do think in the book there is a lot of time jumps. It's incredibly confusing. Like there's
Yeah,
narrator switches, they go from present to future to past to present. It's hard to follow. So I can understand why you can't show that in a movie for like
yeah.
the general audience, but I think that they maybe before she like left to go to Thrushcross Grange, like she should have I can never say that one.
That's called Grange. The
She
Grange.
she should have they built their love story up a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. One big element of Emerald Fennell's directorial style is that she loves these beautiful aesthetics. She like really plays on color usage and costumes and like really playing into like the environment that the movie is in. And I think she did a really great job with that with this movie. However, a lot of people are saying that it's like window dressing basically to like distract you from the story not actually being good.
And it worked on me, let me tell you.
It kinda worked.
And
As
I
a
absolutely
lot of window shopping, it worked.
yes. So, like, as much shit as I've been talking, which I think it's important to talk this shit, I
Yeah,
actually enjoyed this as, like, a cinematic experience. Like, in that movie theater seat, watching that on the giant big screen with the soundtrack blasting in my ear, like, when they're at Thrushcross Grange and the, time is passing and it looks like they're in a dollhouse and the snow is falling and the lights are
yeah,
on in the background, like,
yeah,
and then when she's, like, looking over the moors and all of the, like, dry brushes flowing in the wind and it's foggy and dark, like,
yeah.
I was enraptured in all of that.
Yes, totally, and I think that it made the story more aspirational too, like, I think when you're reading the book, The Moors does not sound like somewhere that I would ever want to live,
It
like, I
sounds
wouldn't
so wet.
it sounds really wet, it sounds harsh, it just sounds like a terrible place to be, and so no shade to the Yorkshires that might be listening to this.
Bring us there. We'll change our mind.
Sure, I'll walk around. But I do think that the way that she kind of glamorized it, like, did make the story feel a lot more approachable, made the romance feel a lot more aspirational. Like, I felt like at certain points I was kind of watching like a Bridgerton-esque type of
Yeah.
thing where I was like, oh my God, the setting is so beautiful. The clothes that they're wearing are gorgeous. Like everything
Hmm.
is just so stunning. So I agree. I think it was very the cinematography was done really, really well.
The costuming made me feel like I was like in a fever dream, and maybe you were supposed to feel like that.
I think so. I think that was
The
intentional.
the room that was painted about her mole and the veins in her face, I was like, "Where
Oh,
am I?"
help. Yeah, so getting into the things that I think that worked on the screen, I do think that the film, as it was shot, does make the story more accessible, but
Yes,
I think it only makes literally like 10% of the story accessible.
that's
So
100% accurate.
I don't know, and maybe that 10% is the most compelling part of the story for a lot of people, which would make total sense.
I think that that is an incredibly accurate statement from a person that has read the book and watched the movie. And
Yeah.
I think that this movie was made for people that didn't read the book.
Yes, totally. And, like,
And
will never read the book.
never read the book. They are going to literally find themselves in a conversation one day about the story Wuthering Heights and actually speak the movie like it's the truth
Yeah. Yeah.
and not realize there's an
So
entire
true.
second half.
It's so true. No, I totally agree, and I think for that purpose, like, I really enjoyed it, and I really appreciated it. Like, actually, when I saw it, I had only gotten through the first part of the book, and so seeing that on screen, I was like, "Oh, okay, amazing." Like, this was the part of the book that I actually, like, was into, and I
Yeah.
could have kind of done away with the rest of it, honestly, but then once I read the second part of the book with the generational stuff, I was like, "Oh, I actually love this." So yeah, I think if you are someone who is like, why would I ever pick up this book? Which again, I don't think that you really need to, then the
No.
movie is like very entertaining. But you just to your point, Emily, should not be like in a conversation discussing Wuthering Heights.
No, and like so many people I know that will never read this book saw this movie and they were like 100 out of 10, like
Yeah,
amazing film. I enjoyed that so much.
yeah,
And I love that for them. And I love that experience for Emerald Fennell because I think that's what she wanted. But
yeah.
it is not a book adaptation. I saw
Nope.
something online today that was like, if you can't watch the movie because you still need to read the book and you have a class project tomorrow and still get an A plus on the class project, then it's not a book adaptation.
Don't, yeah, just don't. I do think that, like, just in general as a movie, again, the cinematography was amazing. The soundtrack was incredible. I love Charlie XCX, so I was so happy that she was in my ear holes the entire time,
Yeah.
and she crushed it. I thought that Jacob and Margot, while they would not have been my casting choices, I just loved them together. Like, you could see their chemistry from literally 40 miles away. Like, they were
Oof.
so oh my god, yeah.
Oof.
I was like, the little looks that they were giving, the little stolen glances, like, their whole vibe was just so good. And then I think the other thing that I liked, which was not how it was marketed, was that it wasn't as spicy as I thought it was gonna be.
Mm,
Like, it was much more heavy on the, like, on the yearning and the kind of, like,
yes.
small gestures here and there and, like, on the tension and the buildup
Yeah.
versus the actual spice. Like, there was no nudity, there was no everything was above the belt. Like, they're
Yeah.
really just, like, making out and, like, sticking their fingers in each other's
Dry
mouths.
humping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved the yearning. I loved the atmosphere, the costuming, the sets. I've been thinking about like the shape of the house on Wuthering Heights for
Yeah.
a while. Like
That was cool.
yeah, it was so just like as a fantasy reader, I feel like that's what you think of when you're reading these fantasy
Yeah.
stories, and
The
Emerald
world
was
building.
able to put it on a screen, which was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
people need to take some notes for Fourth Wing, Michael B. Jordan.
For the TV show.
Yeah. But
We'll see if
like,
they have the same budget.
but as a book adaptation, like, we can get into our score, but I
Yes.
just don't think at the end of the day, this is what we're calling it.
No, the adaptation score is literally a 0, if that's possible. This is not an adaptation.
Should we get into our BBC movie Hollywood star
Woo!
scorecard?
Yeah, sorry, I jumped into it. That was the first part of the
I was
scorecard.
like, let's get in front of her before she gets too far.
Okay, so adaptation score 1 out of 5.
Yeah, I would say maybe like a 1.5 or 2 out of 5 because it was like the first half of the book.
It, but not even. Like there was so much that was
40%.
changed. No.
She even left out some characters and like that are supposed to be like the drunk abusive ones. And because she left them out, she made other characters the drunk abusive.
Correct. Like she changed so many things. Literally the consistent things were the names of the characters, the love story, the
Names of the
setting.
locations, yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of it. So,
Yeah.
again,
Okay, maybe like
great
a 1.5.
interpretation, reimagination, very fantastical and beautiful and whatever, but not an adaptation.
So this is going to be a tough like score to give because it's a combination.
Yeah.
Casting and chemistry.
Oof. Okay.
Because we just went on a tangent about how the casting isn't who we would choose, but that the chemistry was electric.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards like 3, maybe
I
two and
think
a
so
half.
too. I think a
'Cause
3 is very
yeah,
fair.
yeah, agreed. Because it's like this should not have been casted in the way that it was, but the way that it was electric. So
It shouldn't have
gotta
been
give it to
casted
him.
in the way from the way of the book, but because this is
No,
Emerald Fennell's version, I think the casting for her version was correct.
agreed. Yes, agreed.
God,
Uh,
Emerald has us like literally in 3 universes at once.
This is what she wants, though. She's like, I just Chinese finger trapped you, bitches. That's what I've been looking for.
Okay, but like I said, a lot of people are loving this as a
Yep.
standalone film that have
Yep.
never read the book. So what do you think? Remove the book from your memory as a
Mhm.
standalone film.
I gave it a 3 as a standalone film.
I gave it a 4 because like I said, I was literally like, I did not peel my irises from that screen one time. Like I did not get distracted. I did not zone out. I was locked in.
Yeah, I was I wouldn't say I was locked in the entire time. Like sometimes I definitely was wandering, but I think that I am a harsh movie critic and
Mm-hmm.
I go to the movies all the time and I
Yes.
love these like big sweeping stories with like crazy visuals, insane music, like whatever. And this one had a lot of those elements, but not enough for it to be like a really good movie for me,
Yeah,
if that
Cassie
makes
is
sense.
one of the few people I know that has seen like every movie that comes on the Oscars noms list that nobody's ever heard of. And like Cassie's seen them all. And so I feel like you actually have like a very good eye for movies from an artistic perspective.
Yeah,
I'm literally like the viewer on Rotten Tomatoes that is
right.
like, I thought Margot was cute.
Totally. I think for a general audience person who is like, I just want to go have a good time at the movies, like this was great. It was fun. Again, the vibes were like 10 out of 10, but I do think as a standalone, I'm like, I wouldn't say that this was like Oscar worthy for like best picture, you know?
No, I don't think that they're gonna be winning awards. But like I took my fiance to this movie on Valentine's Day, and he loved it too. He was like that was a great movie. I just felt
Yeah.
so many emotions. I loved the view of it. He was still talking about it the next time.
I do think men in particular like kind of resonated maybe with the story in a different way too, like
Because they
watching
struggle.
Heathcliff. Yeah, because they all struggle emotionally like Heathcliff does. They all know when Catherine dies, how they feel. Okay, final verdict. Book first, movie first, both, skip one. I think I know where we're going with this.
Skip one. You either have to choose one or the other.
Unless you can separate the two.
Unless you can separate the two, correct. So would you say
Yeah.
both?
No, I would not. I genuinely don't know that I can recommend anyone reads Wuthering Heights.
That's why I'm saying skip one and it means the book, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's like if you were just looking for a good time, like when Wuthering Heights comes out on streaming, like definitely watch it.
Yeah, I think that you should absolutely stream it, and don't let us deter you from reading the book, but I just don't think that it should be something that you're racing to read. There's a lot of
Right.
classics that should be at the top of your list before this is.
Yeah, like I think that maybe go read Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre before
Yeah.
Wuthering Heights potentially, which
If you
is on my
haven't
list.
if you haven't read Pride and Prejudice, but you've seen all 12 adaptations, like maybe read that book.
True. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a fantastic point. So,
Sense
yeah,
and Sensibility. Sorry, I
yeah.
could keep going and
Uh,
going.
She's about to name the entire Jane Austen catalog. I think definitely prioritize the movie for Gen Pop. I think if you are someone who's like trying to get into your classics journey, like put Wuthering Heights on your list, but don't prioritize that.
Yeah, maybe like bottom of the list.
Yeah. Bottom. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So I think that wraps this up. I think you all know where we're at. Jacob and Margot, if you're listening to this, love you down, but
Yeah.
let's not do this again.
Until the year 3000, if you've
Until
learned
the
to
year
preserve your bodies through science by that time.
Oh my God. All right. Next week, I think we're talking about all the things we read in February, including Wuthering Heights.
Yeah.
And then we're also talking about our TBR for March, what we're excited about, what we are going to be watching, all the fun things. See you same time, same place. Bring your blankets, bring your book boyfriends, and we'll see you then.
See ya.